If you are in a season where you're looking to just reconnect from burnout, from exhaustion, and ready to awaken your highest self, then this is the episode for you. We have an amazing woman here today with Ayurvedic background, trauma healing experience, energy healing, and a beautiful blend of experience that can help lift us, women, men, to our highest. So welcome, Aletheia.
Thank you, Michi. I'm so glad to be here in this community. Thanks for having me today.
I love your presence, your energy. Thank you so much for being here. I would just love to get right into it. Specifically, what led you to the Ayurvedic scene? For me, that's something I don't know too much about, but I've always wanted to dive in deeper because I know that that's very powerful for internal healing, gut health. Just explain to us what led you through that and how that called to you.
Happy to share. So, my work definitely called me and chose me. I always say that.
Nice.
I am a chronic pain survivor and warrior. So, Ayurveda and wellness call to me. I've always been a child that dealt with a lot of physical pain. My parents didn't know how to quite deal with it, and it lasted up into my 20s. And then I got diagnosed in 2012 with fibromyalgia and a few other autoimmune issues.
Oh,
And it was very difficult to accept at the time because from the minute I knew what I wanted to do, which is wellness, I was always in the fitness scene, group instructor,
mm-hmm.
trainer, all those sorts of things. I would lift heavy weights, run miles, and that all stopped. So it kind of felt like I was almost disabled in my own self. And at that time, I didn't have a lot of support. I didn't have a lot of the language around that. And I'll fast forward to a couple of years ago when I started my well-being training and I switched over from a lot of fast, vigorous workouts to more grounding workouts. So that's my journey there. It started with actually Pilates in 2015 when I got certified. That was my workout of choice because I could no longer lift the heavy, heavy weights. So I
Uh-huh.
of mind body work and how my own body became the vehicle to do Pilates, and as well you could do modifications. And I felt like it was well versed for all kinds of bodies. So it went from there, and then fast forward into I loved yoga. I've always practiced yoga since like 2008. I mean, a long time. And I became certified as a 200-hour yoga teacher and guide, meditation, breath work. And in that program, they offered an extra training as an Ayurveda specialist. And so I knew that's what I wanted to do. I had read about Ayurveda. I'm going to shout her out from another podcast and person I follow called Sahara Rose. And
Oh,
I
I know her. Yes, I watch her. She's awesome.
love her work. And so I heard about Ayurveda and I said, this resonates. This makes sense. Not only does it make sense dietary because Ayurveda is an old ancient science, a sister of yoga, but also it literally tells you about your life path, how to make decisions, why your emotions are the way they are, along with the foods you should be eating in the time rhythm, how you should get up and go to bed and all the times. So it made sense holistic instead of just do this one thing, then do this one thing. It made sense to have a well-grounded, well-rounded system that I could use. So I became certified
Wow.
of those specialties. That's why I call myself a well-being educator because it's just so many things, so many hats, but they all fit together.
It's a beautiful blend, and they all fit together for the overall well-being, whether it's chronic, whether it's just for basic maintenance, and it can totally improve your life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
And so you as a child were always in pain. You just never knew why. You were just never feeling like to your best ability, and you didn't know until you said you become an adult.
Yeah.
Um, Now, from that point, you said, let me find something the holistic routes, right? Was it that you just didn't want to put yourself in a box with Western medicine, or what made you look outside the box?
All of those aspects. I definitely know that Western medicine has its place, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm an island girl. I'm from Jamaica. So we always grew up in my household without Tylenol, without NyQuil. I didn't really understand
Mm-hmm.
medications. We grew up with bush tea, and we grew up with all kinds of herbs and salves and taking baths. And so even to get rid of a fever, my mom would put a certain kind of rum on me and wrap me in a blanket,
Yes.
and I would sweat the hell out of that thing. So that is what I grew up with. And so I guess it was always ingrained in me that
That was before Vicks.
yeah, that was. And so I think it chose me. I think I was always a medicine woman. I think I always resonated with that kind of medicine. And I started feeling like I was not being heard when I went to the physicians. I was being talked over, and I was being thrown into other categories. It's just depression. It's just this. Maybe it's rheumatoid arthritis. Maybe it's this. And it led me back to having to take medication for depression, which can be used. I'm not against that. But that wasn't my issue. And so I took care into my own hands. Every medication they tried for me, I literally had a reaction. My body doesn't do well with a lot of medications. And I began researching. I began diving into herbology and all these things, and found a lot about magnesium, all the things that help on a cellular level, but also how to take that stress level down. Because with fibromyalgia, it's a whole body experience. And so the
Yeah.
also from trauma. I found out that the pain is connected to trauma as well. Nothing made up, and that just shows you how much pain, the body keeps score. It's a true statement. My body kept score of traumas that I may go into in this episode if it takes us there, but I've been through a lot. I'm a warrior, survivor of all kinds of traumas, different kinds of abuse, um,
Oh,
disappointment, and those things get ingrained inside of you, and also multiple car accidents that my parents were in. And so all these things build it up. And I think it clicked when I was young. My father looked at my mother and said, "Something's wrong with her. We need to listen, and we need to figure something out because she's sleepwalking." And they would find me on the floor, on the wooden floor every night falling asleep because I wanted to be on close to the earth grounding, right? My bed was,
yes.
I wanted a firm foundation. And so that was a sign to them. And they would, help me and advocate for me in school when I couldn't do certain things, from that age, even before I had a name for it. They would advocate for PE when I couldn't show up. I had very heavy menstrual cycles. There were so many things that I shouldn't have had to deal with as a teenager, but I did.
Wow.
As an adult, I took care into my own hands. When I couldn't walk, I couldn't move for a few days, I called my mother, and she moved to North Carolina to be with me. um, I was in another relationship that wasn't supportive of my illness. And that person thought I was lying and making up stories. I couldn't wash dishes. I'm a very clean person. So it changed every aspect of my life. And now I can say I can maintain it. I know how to nourish myself through my flare ups. And also, I'm an energy healer. And so I do work on my own self, when I'm feeling really low or sitting with a heating pad. I just will, take those hands and nourish myself and give myself the food that it's craving and all the things. So I know how to surround myself to be comfortable. That's my journey so far. And so I want to help others. Now I'm an advocate for all kinds of autoimmune alopecia, which I'm also coming out about, other autoimmune that I've been dealing with.
Wow. Yes. I knew a friend also that had a lot of cancer scares and a lot of issues going on that she actually switched to Ayurveda.
Yeah.
And that's how I kind of heard about this. But it's for some people, it's not for others. And that goes to show you we all have our different stories with our upbringing. So with your story, yeah, feel free. Whatever you share will totally help other people. So you go as far as you want to go. And I appreciate you for sharing and being vulnerable because
Mhm.
gosh, I can only imagine, especially being a child, right? Where you don't think that anybody will understand you, or maybe you say something and somebody doesn't believe you. And as a child, you're just like, oh, I can never say this again. So when you were, if you can just take us back to when you were younger and you just felt like what your body over time from different experiences just getting like layers, right?
Layers. And you know what, Michi, I would push through. People would never look that girl was in pain. I've done gymnastics, I've done dance, I've done running. I was the girl that would jump off the couch and do splits, and I would sing.
Happy face and oh yeah.
Even as a young adult, I learned to put on the mask to make people happy, to make them comfortable, because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have the language or the boundaries to say I can't do that, I can't make that you know. Now I do have that language, but yeah, it was layer upon layer. Um, I've been through, sexual abuse. I've been through assault and young child, and even those things at the time were not believed. They were from trusted people in the church, things like that, and
Yes.
from next door neighbors. And so these things kept happening to me, and so I began the story in my mind, a narrative that something's written on my forehead where people must be attracted to me to try to hurt me, and as a young child you don't know. And so I thought it was safer to just go within. And so
Uh-huh.
I kind of had a period in life where I got kind of quiet and my energy kind of went down. And I learned how to kind of keep that in. My father also had a lot of mental disorders, everything you can imagine combined, schizophrenia,
Wow.
and that manifested as well. So even my own home didn't feel quite like a sanctuary, didn't feel safe. So I had to create my own safe space. And so from a young age, it's kind of like I was pushed into adulthood and learned to create my own spaces, learn to protect myself from the people that I should feel safe with. And that led me towards wanting to help others. At the time, I didn't know that. But when I entered the wellness field, all I knew, I said, God, I prayed, I said, God, what I'm going through, do not let it be in vain. Do not let it be in vain. When I got older, maybe in my 19, early 20s, that was my prayer. Wherever you take me, just let me be able to help someone. And then it's like when that prayer manifested, one by one, people started kind of approaching me with different things. That's when
Wow.
how I've actually built this business. It's kind of like it just came to me because I was an open vessel. And so I started to kind of feel like I could serve a little bit. That started to kind of heal me. And I had some therapy. But I think working with people and seeing that I could help others was really my like bright light moment, my aha moment. It was like, I want to do this. I don't know what this is called, but I want to do this. And as I got older, got into that marriage of 11 years with a narcissistic person who was mentally abusive, had his own scars and issues. The next vessel, the next thing, I was like open to it after the pain, of course, after the self healing and having to move back in with my mom and having to raise my kids on my own and work multiple jobs. I said once again, same prayer. Okay, let's expand this. Who can I help? Because I can't do this. I started to form my own community of people that were single, divorced as well, or going through it. And also, people started just coming to me. I'll get messages on Facebook. Hey, I don't know who else to reach out to. I know that, you might have gone through this. Do you think you could help me to figure out how to get a lawyer? All these things.
Look at that.
It's a story to tell others. I'm not saying that your pain is simply just that to help others, but it is one of the most beautiful things you can do is alchemize your pain.
Uh-huh.
And I'm an alchemist, and I'm proud of that. Um, I wear that badge with honor because I know I did my inner work. I'm not perfect, but I think when you remain open to be a vessel and open for how you can be used to raise the vibration of the collective, God will do amazing things in your life. That's where it started for me. And before I put a name to my business, I knew I wanted to help people. That led me to where I am now with aligned movements, which is well-being, helping people, coaching them, helping them to reprogram their mindset with their body and food and emotional, issues and nervous system regulation, all the things that go together. I think people separate so many things, but I kind of wish we could all see that we're helping one another. Psychotherapists are helping one another. Nutrition is what you do, Michi, with your
Yeah.
clothes. I mean, we're all helping one another walk home, you know.
You see, and that's just so beautiful. And that shows you like the power of energy right there. Even the most traumatic things, okay, we don't even want to think about how could that even happen. There's some that believe that we choose to be here and to go through these traumatic experiences only because that's the catalyst or that's going to help other people and take you way further than you could have ever imagined. Between what you've been through or anybody else, at a point feeling a little bit weak internally, not knowing what's going on, but it was like attraction, manifestation of those same type of patterns coming until you were able to hit rock bottom and say, I don't deserve this. This needs to stop. And you being a deep empath as well, a lot of us energy healers, we are very deep empaths. They seem to attract narcissists.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny that you said your ex was a narcissist, and due to past patterns and cycles, karmic cycles, attracted abuse as well. And so, what was the awakening then when you said, absolutely enough, no more, I am moving forward and no longer will I take less than, what I deserve?
Absolutely. And I'm going to tell you the absolute truth because I'm a truth teller. My
Yes.
name Aletheia actually means truth. Just to throw that out there. I
Ooh,
think
love that.
I have no choice but to live it. But the person I was with actually chose that path. I was raised to very biblical, virtuous woman. You stick with your person no matter what. You do this,
Uh-huh.
God bless you, all the things. I did all the things right. Believe me, I did. But it didn't work out that way. And this person, in a very brash and impersonal way, said, I'm going to leave. And you'll be okay. You'll figure it out. I think they even knew my own strength.
Wow, yes.
The time, Michi, I was weak. And I'm going to be honest, I had suicidal thoughts. I dealt with a lot of I can't be alone. I can't do this. I became so dependent, so codependent on this as my value, my validation. And so at the time, I really thought I would break. I really thought there's no life, because my title was wife, mother, homeschool mom, all these things that I was doing at the time, right? In the church, worship leader. I thought, oh, wow. And you know what's funny? Everything did change after that. Everything did change after that. Finally, one day, I don't know where the strength from. I know it came from the divine, but I literally said, okay, then you leave, you do whatever, I'll figure it out. I had to walk on complete faith, complete faith. And it wasn't immediate. I didn't all of a sudden have an epiphany and say, I'm not going to take this BS. I really was a journey of facing my shadows. At that time, I didn't know what the hell shadow work was, but I was doing it. I was battling with my own self and eventually became friends with that part of myself. But I was in survival mode. And I think as mothers, we do that. I didn't have a
Yep.
chance to breathe. I didn't have a chance to feel those emotions. I literally kept working, kept raising my children, kept teaching them. That was it. And then one day I did break and figured out I need a break. I got to figure this out. I have to do some self care. I started surrounding myself with different people and choosing wisely who I wanted to be around. And I made a hard decision and decided that that specific church and that kind of life, even though I still believe in God, of course, that did not align with me. Those kind of people weren't living to what they said they believed in.
Uh-huh.
So I began to walk my own path. I felt very alone sometimes. I felt like I was in solitude, but that's where God had me. That's where He had me to grow in fertile soil, was alone, figuring it out. And through my trainings, actually where I met a lot of friends, through my saying yes to a lot of things, to my just giving classes for free, just starting to offer things, I began to walk into my career. But I did say enough is enough. Finally, one day I wrote in my journal and I just decided I am tired of feeling so needy. I am tired of not seeing my own worth without people and without people pleasing. And I'm done. What would happen if I just stopped? And you know what? The world went on. I raised my kids. I created boundaries and the world went on without me being so available, without me clinging. And I found my self-worth again. I've always been independent. I've never been a codependent person. I learned it through that relationship. I had 3 years to myself. And I said, I'm going to get to know me. I'm going to get
Amen.
no more wallowing. I'm going to get to know me. I'm going to love me whole. And the next person that comes along, if that is my path, he's going to have to know that it's me first. Okay, it's me first. And we have our paths, but I love me and I'm whole.
Uh-huh.
I don't need you. I want you. And that
Yep.
is my goal before I got into anything else. And so really, yes, I had my that's it moment, my fall on the floor moment. I give up. Giving up can be sometimes hard, but the best place to be. Because then you're telling the universe, I surrender. I'm ready. Do it. Whatever that might look like. I'm also an
That
Aquarius
is,
sign, so
oh, you're Aquarius?
I am.
No
Are you?
wonder we get along so well. Yeah. No wonder, my soul sister. Yes, no, so many things in common. And and just recently I was just chatting on another talk with someone that the life starts just taking you in these crazy directions where you're finally meant to be when you start aligning with people who get you, who understand you. It's like minds, but it's also deeper than that. It's like minds and like a truly authentic, that's the key word. And authenticity is the highest vibration that there is. So it's more, of course, we have enlightenment, but that is also part of just being pure and authentic and finding things and people and hobbies and jobs that just align with you. And that's just your life is going to flow. Energy will just flow.
Yes, you said something powerful. You said authenticity, and that's a big thing that I live by. I was
I
raised,
can tell. I know.
I was raised to wear a mask. I was raised to shove things under the rug. No one knew what was happening in my home as a child. No one understood. My dad was a pastor, so they saw
Oh,
one person, and then we saw another, and it
wait,
was
your dad
hard.
was a pastor, but also diagnosed
Everything,
paranoid.
schizophrenia, bipolar, all together. I didn't know who I was coming home to every day.
Wow.
He would use scripture against me and my sister. So the very word that I learned to love became kind of like, ooh, I had to really figure out who I was and what I wanted to do and how I wanted to live my life and how I wanted to believe because my mind could have seriously been warped. And I know I was saved from that. I know there was divine guidance throughout that. There's people look at me and that know me and say, how did you do it? I really, I know
You
divine.
don't know. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just kept one foot in front of the other and deciding I have something worth living for. I have
Uh-huh.
something, it's got to be something worth being here for. And I lost a lot of friends in that time with my father being the way he was. I moved out of the house super early as a teen. I was independent from that day on. He's no longer with us on the earth, and I've made peace and forgiven. And I think he's a guiding ancestor of mine. I now know some of his strengths are in me, but it was rough. It
Yeah.
was really, really, really rough. And it was hard even for my mother because she did her best, but she was going through her own protection.
Uh-huh.
Now I know that. So I saw those things, but I guess the reason why I chose the person I did in the past was I felt like he could save me, he could help me and get me out of that situation. And that was where the codependency started.
Uh-huh.
That only you can allow things to happen, can make that shift by your mind and by the words you speak. No one can really save you. So
Nobody.
it was early
No
life
politics, no man, no husband, no woman, no nothing. It's within. Uh-huh.
authenticity, and shame is horrible. Shame is where it keeps people feeling hidden. And I always tell people that when you tell your stories, that shame dissipates and it helps other people to come alive and say,
100%.
oh, her too, me too. And my story sounds crazy. I always thought I want to tell my story about my dad and all. Here's some things that you wouldn't believe that he did in that house. I mean, destroying furniture and locking us out, all this kind of stuff. I said, I don't
Yes.
want to tell that, but you know what? Someone in this world understands what I'm saying. More than
Uh-huh.
it. So I've learned to share because I don't want people to sit in shame. If I can help one person, then it's worth it. I
Yep.
survived and I'm here.
Oh, girl, yes. And yeah, you are very aware of your body and you will share as it needs to be. And definitely the work that you're doing the work that you're doing that's successful because of what you went through.
Yeah.
Um, and now you're specializing in trauma. That's amazing. Back then, there wasn't as much. holistic alternative therapies, alternative healing. Now there's much more, and people who have gone through these
Yeah.
traumas and these experiences, that's who I want to believe. That's who I want to go and get healing from. Someone who has been there, done
Yeah.
that, and know what I'm going through. So what you're doing is so powerful and
Thank you so
meant
much.
to be, meant to be. And like you said, you had that time forced to be alone.
Yeah.
So we're very similar. And that time, it was like the universe had to force you to be alone because otherwise you wouldn't have done it?
You had to leave. I would never have. I
Exactly.
sticking to it. But man, when I look back, I'm like, oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad I decided
Yeah.
to choose me. I sometimes look back, not in shame, but I go, who the heck was that girl? I'm
Mm-hmm.
so helpless. That's how much self-worth you can lose when you really put all your stock in someone else or a certain life or in a certain status and all your money, whatever it is that has power over you. You can't put your power there. You can't, because life is your teacher. And
Yes.
people hate when I say that. I used to hate when I heard people's coaches say that, but I now know
Yep.
every single thing that comes to me, whether I know it in the moment or not, I always pause after feeling the feelings, being pissed off, whatever it is. What is this trying to teach me?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we're human, of course. Yes. Yes, pause and just wait a minute. Now that we're older and wiser, we're not going to react so suddenly. So
Yeah.
just take a moment, and it's okay to feel those terrible feelings for a moment.
Right.
And why? Because those feelings are authentic. Authentic is the highest vibration. So even if the feeling is pissed off and angry and whichever, feel it because that's authentically what you're going through at that moment. But
Mm-hmm.
the universe is not going to hold that against you
No,
because God
no.
knows you're human. And what's going to happen when you actually fully feel it? It's going to pass through. Now you can breathe
Yeah.
and feel clear. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Tell my clients, you have to sit with it for a moment.
Yep. Yep.
The way to heal it is to go through. There's no
Mm-hmm.
passing. You have
Because
to.
it's going to come and get you.
It will come for you, baby.
It'll come back. Yep.
And the
Yep.
cycle repeat and repeat if you do not break that. So I do know that I'm a generational curse breaker. I do know that I'm the first one in my life,
I love that. Oof.
as I'm sure you are. I used to think
Yes.
black sheep. I used to think I was
But
so.
don't you? Oh, that gives me the chills because listen, and as we are going through our spiritual journey,
Mhm.
it's us in that moment where we're like, no, enough is freaking enough. Like, this is enough. We're going through way too much. And it needs to be somebody, even though I believe we have different worlds and different cycles that we're going through forever and ever and ever. But right now, for our soul to keep raising to the next, to the next, to the next, in our life, we could have said, oh no, and just with our narcissistic husband, with whichever the case. But no, we are going to go so much further because we've just already decided and have already stopped many, many things from happening. It takes the power, the spiritual journey, the power to go within and say, absolutely not, no more. So that gave me the chills, what you said. Oh,
I see your soul. I see your soul, Michi.
yeah.
Well, I tell people, I know I sound funny, but I souls. I mean, we're humans. We're spiritual beings, and I see people's spirits sometimes they're for their soul, and I know if they're for me or not going to be for me, or if they're passing through, or if message is for them or not for them. And I was
Mhm.
taught to follow my intuition, but I was always a seer. I was always a prophetess. I was always speaking life into people. I could always see and had dreams about people that were very clear, and they would be confirmed that it was right from a young age. And
Wow.
scared of it. And now I'm like, oh, this is why. This is who I've always been this person.
So
I've
that's a
always,
little, what is it, clairvoyancy? Well, we have to label things, which we shouldn't have to, but that's like so others know. So you're saying seeing as in messages that just come to you that you can see.
literally like messages to save someone's life I've given,
Wow.
or messages that people didn't want to receive in the moment. And I always think, okay, do you want me to tell them? I ask. But
Hmm.
years later, and they come back and say, oh, I remember when you said that, and now I see. Thank you. I'm never a doomsayer or anything, but I will give warnings, or I'll or I'll uplift people and be like, I know you don't see it now, but I see this, but you have to do this first. And I always felt like an old soul. This little,
Yes.
I get it. Now I get it, I know my
Oh,
ancestors.
beautiful.
There's so many things I wasn't taught, but I believe my ancestors are guiding me. I know my angels divinely
Yep.
guide. Know that this is God's path for me. Is to raise the vibration of humanity to help people to find their highest self and to heal.
Mhm. Oof, yes, yes, yes. And that healing is a daily discipline that you are doing for yourself, but to just keep yourself raising to the next level. Um, and even I'm sure there's days where you honestly feel maybe days that you're like, I just need to rest because there can also be overkill with the whole healing obsession with healing that some people go through, right? Self-development and healing. It's like, whoa, chill. But it's a nice balance. You learn your flow.
Yes, I think you're right. I think there's a label on healing, and people think that that's it, and they get caught up. And I always tell people, some of y'all need to sit down and just chill out, have some coffee. Some of y'all's healing looks like going dance,
Yeah.
go in the middle of a field and scream. Like, you know what I mean? I think everyone's like, oh, and I'm like, oh, honey, there's so many ways.
Yes.
I mind myself to play. I mind myself to rest. I
Yes.
myself that I'm healing while I'm doing nothing, and it's not on.
Yes.
It wasn't how I wasn't taught that. I was taught to hustle and do this, doing this. So everything I'm doing is self taught. I have to say, self explored. It wasn't. No one told me it's okay to rest. No one told me it's okay to have a break. No one.
Yes.
No one taught me these things.
Right.
Oh,
Right. You can see things. Maybe you can
yeah,
see things way more clearer than me, using the extra gift that you have. But so many advertisements that I've seen where I can feel that they're not authentic as far as this energy healing that they're there's some events a lot, especially in Miami. You know, Miami is melting pot and everybody comes to do their retreats and things like
yeah.
that. But there's so many advertisements going on for energy healing, Reiki, and all kinds of things, which is beautiful. But it comes to a point where people think that you're going to go to this that's hundreds and thousands of people, that they're going to touch on you like Kundalini style, and you're just going to be healed. And I mean, a lot of funky stuff going on.
Mm,
And to me, when I just see the advertisement and you have vulnerable people going there with issues and they're believing in you. And I'm not knocking on anyone because it's everybody needs to go on their own spiritual journey, but these people don't know what else to do. So they are looking for this person or someone to save them when they don't realize you got to go internally. I believe in powerful energy healers. You and I study this, so we know you follow your intuition, right?
right.
Who you feel and who you connect with, who you know is pure. But what I'm saying is just people need to just be careful who you see out there and listen inside, listen to your gut and listen to your body and who do you feel a connection with to get that treatment or the therapy, even to just talk to, because it's an exchange of energy like you and I right now. We otherwise we wouldn't waste time together, but it's an exchange of energy from pure souls, and just to be careful, of who others out there who are seeking help. Just be careful going to those events where there's like swarms of people, thousands of people, messing with your energy. You just got to feel good and trust.
I'm gonna sit with that for a moment because I'm so happy you brought that up.
Yes.
I'm just gonna pause, and I hope the audience
Yes.
has to just hear what Michi said, hear the
Yes.
wisdom. And I want to, as a wellness expert, tell people you have to have discernment. You have to have wisdom. I actually don't love the big crowds, big events. Maybe I'll go to one or two and I'm interested in some, but my greatest experiences have been one-on-one or small circles. I think I'm not saying anything's wrong with a big event, man, and we should have raves of healing, right? But healing happens in circles,
Yep.
and we need to get back to ceremony, get
Yes.
back to the village. It's time to get back to the medicine woman and the sacred keepers. And we can't really be that sacred one. It's 1,000 people, and we're all trying to feel this vibration, that vibration. It's kind of like a concert, right? This is why I tell people when you go to a concert, you feel that high vibe, you dancing. But sometimes certain concerts, when you come back, do you ever feel a little bit of the blues? Or a little bit,
Right?
kind of like, or after a wedding or a great event you went to, but you come back and feel this weird, like, flatlining? That's because you were caught up in the moment of what you thought was a true vibration, and you still feel like you need healing.
Oh, yes.
Mindful and don't allow every person to speak into your life. That's why I always tell people, thank you for allowing me to speak into your life, or thank you for allowing me. I'm honored that you chose me as your practitioner. They don't have to, you know,
Yes.
but you can trust people according to your vibration and when they care about you and they're not always trying to commercialize everything. So if someone out there is wondering
Hmm.
how to tell the difference, that's how. That's how.
Yes.
No matter how big I get, no matter how well known, I do want to be well known. I do want to speak on stages. I'm not saying it's wrong to be in a crowd. I know I'm called to platforms, but I always pray and hope that I never lose a vision and lose the humility and lose the gift of being able to see people.
Yes.
And they need to feel seen. People
Yes.
are out enough on a daily basis. We're driving around not seeing people. We need to see people. We need to get back to that, right?
Oh, that's so huge. Yes, sharing the message, being empowered by all of those who have come to see you speak. It's a powerful, rewarding thing. But be careful at who you exchange your energy with. And like you said, sometimes smaller circles are best. Feeling your body, having discernment, because it's more of an intimacy, being in a smaller group and can be impactful. But there's also an impact doing worldwide meditation as well. Like at the same time, everybody from all countries, let's
Global.
all do, yes,
Yeah.
that's powerful as well. But it's just more discernment with what calls to your heart and just being authentic. And the only way that you can know that is being true to yourself, living life a true person. Yeah, letting go, not having so much attachments and mask, like you said.
Yeah.
And it takes time. It takes time. Nobody's perfect, but we
So,
just need to start working on the layers little by little and start doing what calls to you. Like that's my path this 2025. I said, I'm going to start doing as many things as possible that my gut and my
yeah.
intuition speaks to me, and just drive, baby, drive, right? Like, and it's leading me to such cool places. So many cool things that I would never have probably tried because the old me was thinking way too much.
We're having a really good
Uh,
energy. I'm feeling sitting here going, you gotta follow your gut. And you said it. So it's like that's the message. And you learn that through practice.
yep.
You might make mistakes along the way, but everyone says, how do I? You know when it's
Uh-huh.
right. You know when it feels off. Follow that leading. Don't question it. The first time you feel it, it's right. That's
Yes.
what I learned. I learned the hard way. It's not like the person I was with, it was a big surprise. It was that I wasn't listening and receiving what I'd already seen.
Yeah.
Took
Oh,
me
oh,
took me probably at year 4 or 5. I probably already knew.
yes. Yes.
Mm,
Yes.
you know.
Yes. But it's just funny to laugh at. Not funny to live it at that moment because we were so in just this little
Yeah,
bubble of just we didn't know, right? But to sit back and look and be like, oh, what in the world was I? How
right.
could I even allow that? Right? But how powerful is it now that you've gone through your cleansing and healing process? Like, you're such a powerful human being now for going through everything you've been through, being able to speak
Mm,
about it, and now healing others. Is that not like seriously powerful? That's
sir.
huge.
That's the best feeling. That's the best feeling to me.
Oof. Yes.
I said, and I know, abundance is so many things. It's financial, it's life, but for me, abundance is doing what calls to you and
Uh-huh.
doing it from the very essence of who you are. You know,
Uh-huh.
I would do this if I didn't make a dime. I would really do all that I do, even if I didn't make a dime. To make the money,
Uh-huh.
awesome. But we need the healers to rise, and this is the time. This is the
This is the time.
Mhm.
And sometimes the abundance, money is also energy. So
Yeah.
sometimes different ways of abundance of people just graciously wanting to give you something, taking you on a trip somewhere, a trip that you can't even afford, or crazy things can happen and you don't really see it or appreciate it when you're in your little
Yeah.
cloud. So just paying attention to being grateful, for what you have, what
Yeah.
you're doing, and that abundance is going to come just from that.
Financial will come.
Oh, for sure.
Love what you're doing. You have to know your why, right? You have to know your why. It took me a
Yes.
while to figure it out, but I finally know my why. I know
No,
my.
for sure. And
Mhm.
you tell us here, for this beautiful people here listening, tell us your why.
My why is to awaken people, especially women, to the very essence of what they came here to be, regardless of race, regardless of what they've been through, to know that they are more than enough. My why is to tell women you're worthy. And you don't need anyone to tell you that. It's an inner work. And so if I can just do that one thing, everything else becomes more clear in a person's life. Once you realize that what I've been seeking has been within me all along, you know? So my why,
Yes. Oof.
let women know that they're worthy, not because of what they do, because of simply who they are. Who they are, who you are, audience, is your superpower. Who you are is your superpower.
Yes. Oh, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
That's so true because each one of us have that something, that one little something that our soul is different and special in its own way. Powerful, powerful, powerful. Ah, that's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. And so for the women listening, which that's what you're doing, awakening, empowering women. What do you think, especially coming from Jamaica with all the beautiful greenery and island, what's a good ritual or practice, whether it be spiritual or not, that a woman can do in that midlife? Because sometimes their energy, they're feeling a little bit low or down going through this transition. Um, our hormones are all over the place. What is a good routine or ritual that these women can do to just keep glowing or bringing back to life?
Absolutely. And I know everyone hears so many things through social media, and I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I'm going to tell you, women, if you can find your breath, that's the first portal. Don't stop breathing. Don't take your breath for granted. There were so many moments that I was so clouded and so in my feelings and in the moment, I wasn't breathing. And that non-breathing turns into trauma. You're holding these things in. You're not getting oxygen to your brain, so you're getting more foggy. And so I'm a high believer in breath work. And,
Yes,
and meditation is not just sitting there for an hour still, closing your mind off. Not what it is. Allowing your mind, allowing the thoughts to come without judgment. We need to stop being our biggest judge. Allow the thoughts to come. I always tell people when I'm doing meditation or a guided quick one, I'll just say, imagine a car passing. Imagine your thoughts like a train. They're passing by. You can observe them, but
uh-huh.
don't become attached. And so the practice of non-attachment, the practice of the breathing, I'm sure you've heard of it, but inhale into deep into the belly, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, hold, and release out for those counts, right?
Yes,
It really is powerful. You can literally feel the pressure from the head just releasing down because we're
yes.
putting our fists and we're doing so much we don't know what we're doing.
No, and as we're going through the day, high stress or you're at work and those who deal with anxiety, it stays here. So how are you going to try to do a deep belly breathe and all of that anxiety is building up stuck stagnant energy, and this is what we are teaching people how to get out.
That's right.
Do you want to guide us just quickly on that breath that you just said and to explain for women and women, men, if you're listening? Let's do it together, everyone sitting there listening now, because this is something that they can do daily, morning, night, when you're going through a tough time, say at work, go to the bathroom and just do a few of these breaths, right?
Seconds, literally. It's all it takes.
Okay.
So take whatever hand feels right and place it over your heart, because your heart has to be open to receive what you need. Take the other,
Uh-huh.
place it on your stomach. This is where your intuition and your desires and what you need to know and feel is in your solar and sacral area. Close your eyes if it feels good for you and pause. Notice the space around you. Notice the temperature, the smells. Take a moment. Be aware where you are and know that you're safe. And now take a deep inhale in through your nose, trying to fill your belly all the way up to your rib cage. Let's do it together. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release out like you're blowing fog on a window. And so it is. That's simply it. Just that one.
See? And being mindful and just focusing on the words and just holding on to ourselves here. It literally, just those movements will bring you present to
Yeah.
prepare you to then go deep. Yes. And you have to visualize the air going down and then up. Yeah.
Tell people we've been breathing wrong all our life. We're walking around.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Nobody freaking told us but to breathe into that belly, to breathe, allow the rib cages to expand, to allow that expansion, and visualize it. Sometimes you don't have a lot of time to do this. It could be in the bathroom at work. It could be on the way to work. I used to do it when I had other jobs, work corporate, whatever. I would drive to work. It's my only time I could practice my breath work. And I know people like listen to music and stuff, and that's great. You can do that too. But for me, I needed silence for a moment, and I would just do it as I would just do it over and over as I was driving to work and play maybe some high frequency. You can choose Spotify playlist and put in high frequency and it will, vibrations, and it will play a beautiful vibration. There's certain frequencies and numbers, and you can get into that. There's certain frequencies that bring you peace or help you sleep,
Yeah.
lower, stress. And so breath work is a game changer. It has changed my life, and meditation. I want to just touch on that real quick.
Yes.
Meditation is not, like I said, just sitting there. There's so many kinds of meditation. I've taught kids, I've taught teenagers, all kinds of people that say, I can't sit. Great. Walk.
Yes.
Walk, find nature, dance, shake those freaking hips. Okay. Shake the body out.
Yep.
Listen with headphones to a good vibrational song. Sometimes even cooking your favorite meal could be a meditation. Of course, sitting still and movement, mindful movement. I teach yoga, but even if you could just stretch your body and breathe, move side to side, massage your back by rolling side to side, holding your knees, telling yourself you're safe. Those are meditations.
Yes.
Don't put yourself in a box. Don't try to do what social media is showing you as what there's one type, that something's wrong with you because you can't be still. The stillness will come.
Uh-huh.
Some people need to move it out. Some people need to sing it out. Some people need to scream it out and then have a moment of silence.
Yes.
What you need, and honor yourself. Okay? Honor yourself.
Yes. And it could be as simple as just a walk and just let your mind go. And nature is healing in itself.
It sure is. I take walks daily. I have a trail behind my house, and I walk that,
Beautiful.
or I sit on my porch, just look at the sun and say, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, I feel the sun on my bones. I feel the warmth. In this moment, I choose to feel safe. And
Yes.
on me, and I'm breathing. And I know I feel like it's not going to be okay, but it's going to be okay. So that's a self-talk that I literally do when I'm having
So for
my,
everyone listening, that's a good tip for them to let's
yes.
have them incorporate that to bring more vitality to their life and just feeling better about themselves. Because we women also we go through a lot of hormonal imbalances and things, and our emotions are all over the place.
Hell,
Depending, yes,
so different
yes.
podcast. Yeah, yeah, baby, those hormones will get you. Well, no, really give yourself a moment and self-talk. I think people go, oh, affirmations, they don't work for me. That's what I just did now. I said,
Yep,
it's simple as saying what you want to feel. There's no hocus pocus here. Say what you want to feel. I am is two of the most powerful words that you can use.
yep, yes,
Want to
yes,
feel, what do you want to feel? Evoke that by saying it. Take a moment, be still. Touching yourself like this tells yourself you're safe. You can tap your shoulders, your forehead to know that you're alive. Tapping techniques, there's so many things you can do within a 2 to 5 minute span to bring yourself back to the moment, which is what we really need. We need
yes,
a moment. Just bring ourselves back to the present
yes,
because we get caught up in the thing. And really,
yep,
sometimes we're angry and sad. It's not that we're still angry. It's the story. It's a vibration of what happened, but it's not the emotion that's still there. It's the story we keep telling ourselves in our mind. That's a powerful mind is powerful.
super powerful. And anything is possible. And that can be literally a routine.
Yeah,
Morning when you wake up, try to find little bits of things that you're grateful for and start
right.
intertwining the gratefulness, right, of life. You're breathing.
You're here.
Yes, yeah,
Can I share one more thing on that? I want to
absolutely.
I'm not going to do the practice, but I'm going to tell the practice is really easy. We all learned this when we were little tiny preschoolers and kids. Your five senses. don't
Yes,
neg- don't negate your five senses. And so another practice you can do is, what do you see right now? What can you taste? Whether you had coffee a minute ago or tea, or what are you going to taste lunch in a minute? What can you hear? What do you feel? You know? And so all the five senses, you have to, it brings you back to awareness, right? Touching, feeling, seeing, hearing, all the things brings you back to that moment. So that practice can literally be done quickly too. Sometimes you need to remember, oh, okay, sometimes you lose that numbness in your mouth because you're so angry, right? Or frustrated.
right,
Face, what am I feeling? Do I feel the breeze on me right now as I'm driving with my window down? Just bring yourself to awareness any way you can. Those are two practices that I do a lot and that I give clients a lot that are in a pinch. They don't have an hour to give to meditation, which I love, but not everybody has that kind of time.
right.
So I think we make a lot out of practices and rituals. We make them fancier than they have to be, but
Yep,
it's there's simply ways to bring peace back to their nervous system and ways to go throughout life in a more peaceful way as the observer of your thoughts. And once you become the observer of your thoughts, that's where your power is because other people can't F with you as much
honey.
as you.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're allowing our thoughts, our energy into other people, and that's they're taking you're giving, actually they're not taking, you're giving them your power and it's stuck over there.
I teach my kids this. I told my son the other day, he had a little thing, and I said, honey, I know you had your moment, but you gave that person your power. I
Yep,
know you right in that moment, but you gave them your power. When people see that they can push those buttons, and people will keep doing it. You need
yep,
to you need to really harness in on observing your thoughts and just try not to be so reactive in the moment because you can't take the moments back.
yes,
I do want to share that I did write a book, and I'll get more into it. But I did write an ebook called talked about intuition, and it's how to follow your intuition and let go of limiting beliefs. And it is on
love
Amazon.
that.
It's a very short read, and it has actual prompts that I give people to learn how to follow their intuition and how I learned it. And I teach them even by noticing a feather or learning your spiritual guides or learning how to observe and know what feels right or wrong. And I give examples. And so that's something that people want, you know,
Yes, I love that.
they can always, get it from you. But it's a powerful little read that came from me learning to harness that. And I live by intuition. I wasn't taught it myself. And
Yes,
it saved me from a lot of things. Hmm.
you see, so that's part of your purpose of being here also is guiding people to just start trusting themselves and following that intuition, because that path is going to lead them to where they're supposed to be, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, that's
The
beautiful.
healer is within. I just want people to know that the healer is within themselves first. We look.
Ah,
I want you to look to people like me and Michi, but I want people to know to first check in here. Self, what do you need? What have I not been giving you? What am I ignoring? And then
yes,
find the help you need. Then the universe will bring that to you. But first, you have to know.
yes. Yes, and for everyone also not to feel so bad that say their life is such a mess, just stop it. It's okay. You're just going to start with one little step first. Do the breath work.
Yeah,
You're going to give me this link. We're going to post in the bottom of this description for that little read that you
absolutely.
have there with some promptus of what to do. And I love it. I really have very limited time, but I make rituals every night. I cannot any longer go to bed, with such a hectic, busy day without doing my nighttime ritual with a tea and some meditation.
Yes.
And yes, it's my favorite time. It's the evening right before bed.
It's
Yeah,
your
it's
moment.
your time. Yes, quiet time. And everybody, no matter how busy you are, if you have little children, you can totally find time for 10 minutes just for yourself. Make yourself your favorite hot drink.
Mhm.
Not coffee, but your favorite hot tea or hot whatever. And take it with you and light up Palo Santo or sage or whichever. And it's like a trigger and a good trigger,
Yeah,
to bring you to that Zen mode. Like
yeah,
it's like a vibe, and it helps to get
I,
you in that mood.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying that I think people think they have so much time in this society. We don't always,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have your rituals. We are so much
Yes.
alike. Nighttime,
Yeah.
I have to have my favorite blanket. It's old tattered little blanket. It makes me feel good.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is find out what makes you feel good. I think as a kid we had our okay, here's a great example. As children we had those things, right? As a child we had the teddy bear, the doll, the binky, the thing that brought us comfort. Why else do
Right.
we not do this? We need that. We need
Yes. That thing. It's self-care.
self-care. We knew it before
Yes.
and then we unlearned it because the world
Yes.
that anymore. You just do
Yes.
no. Let's go back. Let's go
Yep.
back. I would like this is my blanket. And this is my comfort. These are my favorite old socks. And I'm gonna
Yes.
minutes and then I'm gonna go to bed after reading this whole chapter.
Right. Make it a part of you while you're in your moment. Absolutely. Something to touch on what you were saying earlier is there was so much giving, giving, giving. What are you going to give to the person to make them feel good? Oh, are they happy enough? And make sure that they are okay. We neglected ourselves.
Yes.
And so there's plenty of women that are still doing that now. And they're not in happy relationships. Why? Because they're giving all of their time and attention and like
Right.
everything. I'm not talking about, yes, partnerships, relationships. It's like you have to give a little bit sometimes. But I'm talking about giving majority of their energy and power and time and attention, and it becomes way too needy. And this is why your relationship is not happy. It's not a good balance. So take your power back and start learning from other healers and people, and just I think that all these women, let's start working on ourselves better, not neglecting ourselves, bringing that energy back, and doing these nice, beautiful breathing exercises, somatic exercises. And it doesn't take long, like you said.
Doesn't. And when we do that, it teaches people how to treat us. You
Yes,
know,
yes.
there's
I
something.
look, I see that your husband is treating you like a
Yeah,
queen, honey. You treat him like a king, and vice
that's
versa.
that's my
I
main
know.
guys. I am married to a wonderful man. That is story. Don't think I'm just, sitting here, but I married a giver as well, and I'm a giver as well. And, it's like he understands he's a whole person, I'm a whole person, that, we help each other and stuff. But I always tell him the same thing, and he tells me, he's like, okay, this is going to sound really cheesy and funny, but like how programmed my mind was to think I had to serve to get something. Okay. That's how I was raised. And when we first got married, my husband would be cooking, that wouldn't happen in my other relationship. And I would start to try to find something to do to show that I was also doing something. And I'd be like, what do you need me to do? Chop the onion, the mushroom. He's like, he's from New York, by the way. So he has a little accent. He laughs when I say that. But he's like, just sit there and look pretty. I'm like, who said that? Are he's being sarcastic. He's like, no, just sit there with your cup of wine and we'll talk. And I'm like,
I love that.
I had to train myself. I'm like, oh, he's a giver too. And so those are green flags, ladies, green flags.
Yes. And didn't that feel honestly like I've learned to also accept? I used to feel
Yeah,
bad accepting or taking or be like, no, 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 it's okay. Like, oh, I don't want to make them feel whatever. Now you learn to, with the good things that resonate with you, accept,
yeah.
accept. And how good did that not feel for your man to make you this beautiful meal when you didn't have to lift a finger?
Yeah, it's not, no one's perfect. I'm not saying we're just walking in beds of roses. And when we do have hard times, we talk it the F out because
Yes.
he divorces. So we don't hide shit under the rug because he'll know
Right.
he is and we got to talk it out. Because
Right.
at the end of the day, right, we talk it out. But
Right.
we're givers and we had takers. And so we know how much that even energy exchange is. And so all I'm saying is whether it's friendship, romantic, work, we got to figure out how to have that reciprocal energy because if we don't, we get drained. And that's where the depression starts and the negative self talk. And nobody cares and all these things, the stories, right? But we're not telling
Yes.
people. We have to tell them what we need and show them how you want to be treated. And so it goes back to what I was saying. Even my kids, I gave everything I could to them as a single mom. They know now when I say I'm having my bath time or I'm here for an hour. I'll put it on the calendar too. They know
Good.
that's my time. I block myself. I can't.
Good.
Because if I don't, I'll learn. I'll get neglected. I'll
That's
neglect.
smart. Yes.
Uh-huh.
Very smart. Very smart. No, and good idea, especially for the busy professionals out there, the entrepreneurs. They're very calendar heavy. So squeeze on that little hour, 24
Yeah,
hours, take 1 hour and make that for yourself. You need it to recharge.
they'll live. People will figure it. If your kids are little, they can play with Legos.
Right?
And
Right?
here, you can still meditate.
Put the camera. We have Amazon camera. One over there. You can put one, they'll survive.
They'll,
Or bring them towards you if need be, or if they're really little, put
yeah,
the baby over here in the papasan while you're taking your hot, beautiful bath with your lavender oil and your incense and your whatever, and just do your meditation and breathing in there. It's
that's
honestly so healing to have that alone time.
have to do it. I want you guys to know that you can, no matter the
Yes.
situation, you can find a way. And you know what? If you have little babies like that, they'll feel at peace too. And when I'm having an energy healing session in the house or working on my husband if he needs one, those dogs fall right asleep. Animals know energy. They know energy. Children know energy. So
Yes.
don't let your children be an excuse. You can be a great mother and still have self care.
Absolutely. And that's part of awakening and bringing to our highest self is self-care. Make that a priority.
Yeah.
And as far as Ayurveda, is that something that you recommend for everyone?
So, Ayurveda, I would say please research or contact me. I have a booking site and I can explain more about it or do one on one coaching or an intro call. But look into it. It is created for everybody. That's the beauty of Ayurveda. Just to tell everybody real quick, there are doshas, and doshas are just kind of like a type of an archetype or, a person you are, how you eat, why your bones kind of crack and why you're so dreamy. Everything is for a reason. So Ayurveda teaches you why you are that way. Because I'm an air sign, I'm a Vata. I've always been kind of on the airy side and bones cracking, autoimmune pain is very
All the time, both cracking.
airy. You need to ground yourselves. You need to walk. So Ayurveda will teach you how to ground. Let's say if you're a Vata, will teach you the kind of foods to eat. A lot of Vatas need more warming foods, not cold food. So all these things they teach you. Some
Gotcha.
people already are grounded. They need to be lighter. They need colder foods. So or pitta, where you're fiery and you can't eat spicy foods. So it literally is for everybody. I would say look into
So
it. I'm so strict to where this is all I do. I'm very heavy on it, but you can incorporate it little by little. and
So it's
figure
an ancient,
out
like a ancient knowledge, right? Ancient wisdom, and then each
right
person
now
is different.
more. It's from India. It's a Vedic science and a sister science of yoga. So it goes with yoga. And it's beautiful, man. If you could just even go on Google and just Google just the basics of Ayurveda, you'll be like, this freaking makes sense. Everything's in a category. Food, the way I think, the way I show up in my workspaces, how I do relationships are all according to kind of how I already came into this world, and it helps you to balance it. We all have all doshas in us, but we are always more one than the other. So I'm primarily Vata, Airy, but I have a little bit of each, a little Kapha, a little Pitta. So I know it sounds like I'm speaking a foreign language, but it all kind of makes sense. And the reason
Mm-hmm.
I don't get stuck on diets, I don't get stuck on fads. I'm not against keto and all those things. I don't get stuck on that anymore. They don't work for me. What works for me is everything in balance and synchronized together, mind, body, wellness, and also doing the things that bring me joy because now I know myself through Ayurveda. So it teaches you to know your human design and just how you're made up and why you do the
Oh,
things. So if you're too unbalanced on one side, how do you get balanced? And a lot of health and wellness doesn't teach you that. That's why I think Ayurveda is so powerful. Look at people from India, man. They are so disciplined and they know these things and they oil their hair and they give themselves self massages, abhyanga, all the things that are taught through Ayurveda is self care as well. So look into
uh-huh. That's
it.
interesting. Yeah, and whether it's full on Ayurveda, everything they teach, or maybe just a little bit at a time to just intertwine it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm all about ancient wisdom, ancient knowledge. I just want to go back to the original nature,
Yeah.
original creation, and that's where it should be.
I want people to know that it's simple. There's nothing you have to specially buy. The most you have to buy for that shopping list is like spices. It's heavy on just certain spices and herbs. You probably already have the peas and the rice, different things in your house. It's so simple, guys.
Right.
Down the way to have and the way to make your water and the temperature to drink your water. Everything is so easy, you'd be surprised. So it's actually kind of saving you money and it makes sense because you're just
Right.
basics. I figured out that I need more warm foods, more stews. My body likes that more than I was a raw vegan for a long time. I've done it all, but I figured out
Wow.
I've been through a
Yeah,
lot, but you will find your way. So every little thing out there is all balanced. You can still have your diet or have your way of doing things, but maybe look into Ayurveda and see what it can do for you and how you can implement little bits.
exactly. So as long as you're feeling good and your body feels good afterwards, then you're doing the right thing.
And I want to, and then I'm very accessible. I have my boundaries and stuff. I do respond on Instagram. I want people to know that I'm easy to find on my Instagram.
Yes.
I'm going to go there now, but I can tell them where to find me if you want.
I love that. Absolutely. No, for sure. To be more informed about this
Yeah,
kind of living, everyone should just take those few tips that you left us with. Let's do it. And give me your last few words for these beautiful people listening.
absolutely. I'm going to tell you where to find me after I give you my last word, and I want to just kind of think about what that will be. Taking a moment to pause.
Yes.
And so Spirit just said to me, you are exactly where you are supposed to be at this very moment in time. And you are always divinely guided and supported, no matter what you feel like. And when you say yes to God, yes to the universe, doors will open up for you. So let's start saying yes, surrender, and know that you're not too late. You're not behind. You're exactly divinely where you need to be right now. And you can find me at aligned underscore movements underscore 1111, my favorite angel number. Working on a new website, but you can find me on Calendly. I have my booking. I can give it to Michi, but I also have my booking info where you can find me in all ways to book appointments with me virtually as well as in person. If you're in North Carolina, I do a lot of virtual work. You can find me on Instagram. It's a newer page. It's business slash personal. And so I do talks on there. I do quotes on there. I'm building a community where I want people to engage with me and I want to give
Yes.
free everyday things that people can do. So find me there, chat with me, give me a follow. But really, the work is for you to do. And I am simply the vessel and the guide. And I know I know there are great things in store for you guys out there listening. Just hang in there and know that you're exactly where you need to be.
Woo, that was so beautiful. That's so good. And
You.
that's so true. That's so true. And we have to, whether, just believe it and trust that that's exactly, no matter what you're going through right now, it's for a purpose, a reason that you need to feel, and you're gonna cut through it. And now you're finding beautiful people here, like Aletheia, that's just here telling you exactly what she's been through and just tips and ways for you to help get you through this tough time. And no, we all can be living our highest life, best life. Believe it, trust in it, and it can happen for all of you guys out there too.
Yes, Michi,
Oh,
your testimonies, and the light is just on the other side. Promise.
yes, amen, amen. I love this. Oh, well, I'm gonna come visit you when I'm in the Carolinas.
Hiking, I'll make you an Ayurveda meal. We'll do all the things.
I love it. I'll bring my palo santo.
And
Yeah,
give me some chakra healing, please, a chakra
yeah.
flow.
We're gonna do all that in nature. We're gonna have a wonderful time.
Awesome.
Perfect. Actually, we should do it live. We'll do it live.
Yes, heck yeah, reunion.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Bless
Michi.
you, hon. Good blessings. Good energy your way.